The separation was not your idea. You did not decide to become someone who does not quite fit in the rooms where everyone else seems at ease. You did not choose the specific loneliness that has followed you through every season of your life, through every relationship that should have been sufficient, through every community that should have finally been home. Something else made that decision, something that operates above the level of human social preference. Something that looked at your soul, at the assignment it was carrying, at the work it was commissioned to do, and made the deliberate, strategic choice to set you apart, not to punish you, to protect you, to prevent the contamination of a frequency that was meant to carry something the world urgently needs in its most concentrated form. The Bible calls it separation. The ancient texts call it the setting apart of the consecrated. And it happens in 9 specific recognizable patterns that play out across the entire span of a chosen soul's life. If your life has felt like a series of divine removals, relationships, environments, communities you tried to join and found yourself quietly, persistently excluded from, type 7 things 7 below. Because what you are about to hear will reframe the entire story of your life. You have always known this, even when you had no words for it. There is a theology of separation that most people have never been taught, because the version of faith most commonly available does not go this deep. It does not explain why the soul that is called most powerfully often walks the path most alone. It does not explain why the person who prays most sincerely for belonging is also the person who cannot maintain it without losing something essential. It does not explain why the seasons of greatest spiritual clarity in a chosen soul's life are often also the seasons of greatest social isolation. But there is an answer, and it begins with understanding what the separation is actually for. A frequency that is meant to carry a specific signal cannot be contaminated by ambient noise without losing its precision. A chosen soul operating at its actual designated bandwidth cannot fully do the work it was commissioned to do while simultaneously managing the energetic cost of environments designed for a lower frequency. The separation is not abandonment, it is calibration. The divine forces that commissioned you also understood what you would need in order to be able to do what you were commissioned to do. And what you would need was space, clearance, the specific kind of aloneness that produces the specific kind of clarity that a certain category of assignment requires. The 9 signs in this transmission will show you how the separation has been operating in your life, not to make you feel more alone, but to make what you already feel make sense at a level it has never made sense before. You have always known this, even when you had no words for it. The knowing was never accidental. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. You did not arrive here by accident. The assignment was always real, even when it had no name. Nothing about what you carry was ever random. The first sign of divine separation is the relationship ceiling. You have formed connections that reach a certain depth, and then, without visible reason, stop. Not because the person stopped caring, not because you did, but because something in the energetic field of the connection reached its natural limit, the limit of what a soul at that frequency could offer a soul at yours. You have probably experienced this as a specific kind of loneliness that is different from ordinary loneliness, because it happens inside relationships rather than in their absence. The second sign is the family system that never quite fit. The household you grew up in may have contained people who loved you genuinely, but there was something about the system itself, its assumptions, its values, its emotional vocabulary, that never fully mapped to who you actually were. You learned to function inside it, but you have always known you came from somewhere it could not explain. The third sign is the community that always has a door but never quite has a seat for you. Churches, spiritual circles, professional communities, social groups. You have found them, entered them with hope, and eventually discovered the familiar friction. The sense of being welcomed at the threshold but not quite received in the interior. This is not because you are difficult. It is because the community was operating at a frequency your presence consistently disrupted. The fourth sign is the divine delay, the opportunities that arrived but then, at the last moment, were withdrawn. The door that opened, and then as you approached it, closed. The timing that was always just slightly off from what you needed. This pattern, which looks like bad luck from the outside, is the hand of a divine intelligence protecting you from seasons and attachments you were not yet equipped to survive. The delay was always towards something rather than away from it. The fifth sign is the stripping seasons, the periods when things that appeared stable were removed without warning. The relationship that ended without a conversation. The career that dissolved despite genuine effort. The financial floor that dropped. These strippings were not random. They were the divine process of clearing you for a designation that requires a lighter, more concentrated version of you than the one the stripped things were building. The sixth sign is the specific anointing that makes people uncomfortable. Not your personality, your frequency. People do not always know why they react to you the way they do, but the anointing that rests on a chosen soul is perceptible to other nervous systems before it is legible to the mind. And what is perceptible but not legible often produces discomfort, sometimes hostility, sometimes the specific kind of awe that manifests as avoidance. The seventh sign is the prayer life that happens in isolation, not in a congregation, not in the company of other people who would understand in the specific private interior space that has always been yours alone. This is not spiritual failure. The 9 signs have been operating in your life simultaneously for longer than you have had words for them. The relationship ceiling has repeated across different people, different contexts, different decades. The pattern consistent enough that you have had to resist the temptation to conclude the flaw was in you. The family system misfit has been with you since before you were old enough to name it. The community threshold, welcomed but not received, has cost you in ways that are still quietly present. The stripping seasons have left their marks, not as wounds that did not heal, but as an awareness of your own survivability that you could not have acquired any other way. And through all of it, through all 9 signs operating across all the years they have been operating, there has been a persistent, quiet, sometimes inconvenient, knowing that none of it was random. You have not always had language for that knowing. You have not always had the energy to honor it, but it has been there, consistent, more reliable than the explanations other people have offered for the shape of your life, more reliable than the narratives you have built for yourself in moments of doubt. The separation was real. Its precision was intentional. And you, exactly as you are, having lived through exactly what you have lived through, are the result it was designed to produce. You have always known this, even when you had no words for it. The knowing was never accidental. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. You did not arrive here by accident. The assignment was always real, even when it had no name. Nothing about what you carry was ever random. The preparation was always pointing toward this. You were built for exactly this season. The soul knows what the mind is still catching up to. What was hidden is very close to being revealed. This is not the middle. This is the threshold. The evidence of the preparation is in the survival. You are further along than the current view suggests. The assignment does not end. It is only beginning to be visible. The season of separation was never the final destination. It was the preparation. And the preparation is reaching its completion. You do not have to go looking for what is next. What is next is already moving toward you with the same intention with which the separation moved. The people who are meant to recognize you in the next season of your life will not require you to be smaller. They will not require translation. They will not need you to manage their discomfort with your frequency, because they will not be uncomfortable with it. They will be designed to receive it. What this moment requires of you is an act of trust that is not blind faith. It is evidence-based trust. The evidence is the entire span of your life. Read accurately. The separation that seemed like rejection was protection. The divine delay that seemed like abandonment was positioning. The stripping that seemed like loss was clearance. Every sign in this transmission, read as data rather than grievance, points to the same conclusion. You were separated because of what you carry. You were prepared because of what you are being asked to do. And the assignment, which has been real and active your entire life, is now entering the season of its visible deployment. Act from that knowledge. Move from that ground. Protect what the separation was protecting, and trust that what is being built in the cleared space is exactly what the next season requires. You have always known this, even when you had no words for it. The knowing was never accidental. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. You did not arrive here by accident. The assignment was always real, even when it had no name. God does not separate what God has not anointed. The 9 signs you have lived are not evidence of abandonment. They are the fingerprints of a deliberate, precise, patient preparation for a soul that was never going to be able to do what it came to do inside the ordinary structures of an ordinary life. The aloneness was the specific aloneness of someone being kept at a frequency that the surrounding environment could not sustain without diluting. The stripping was the specific stripping of a soul being made portable, concentrated, clear for what it was commissioned to carry into a season that is now arriving. In 2026, the chosen souls who have survived the divine separation, who came out the other side of the relationship ceilings and the community thresholds and the stripping seasons and the divine delays, are being activated for the visible phase of their assignment. The preparation is done. The position is ready. You were set apart from what you were set apart from for exactly this. Not for more waiting, for this. Type 7077 below if the 9 signs in this transmission named the pattern of your life. Let the next soul reading these words know that what looked like being left behind was actually being saved for something the ordinary path could never have reached. You have always known this, even when you had no words for it.